hope you all spent lovely holidays with friends and families and are ready to take on 2022. I know I am. I made a resolution that I will be posting on my channel weekly for at least the next 3 months. So if you would consider subscribing to the channel and helping me stay true to my resolution, I would be so thankful. In this video, I'm going to talk about the best women's releases of 2021. In my job as an apprentice perfumer at Givaudan, I have the unique opportunity to smell all the new releases. They're sent to the perfumery school where I am, and we get to smell them without packaging, without the pretty bottles, in just these little sample bottles that are about 2 milliliters. And so we really get to smell the fragrances somewhat blind. You know, a lot of times when I get these little sample kits, I like to smell without knowing the name, without knowing the gender or the brand or any of that, and just seeing like what of this or what of these are good smells. And we're really lucky we get niche fragrances in these packages and also designer fragrances. So it's a really good mix. It's also men and women's. There's also a men's version of this video if you also like men's fragrances. And so what's really great about this is that, you know, you're not prejudiced by the pretty bottle or because it's, you know, a designer brand that you love. You really get to just analyze the fragrance for what it is. And I think that led to some really interesting discoveries for me. My #1 fragrance on this list is not from a brand that I had ever really checked out before, and I fell in love with their fragrance. Number 5 on this list is Vanilla Diorama by Dior. This is a great vanilla fragrance. It's really different from what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like a light, powdery vanilla, but not at all. It's a super boozy vanilla. To me, I get notes of like rum and citrus at the top. There's a lot of spices before you actually get to that light, powdery, fluffy vanilla, but it's interesting. It's a fragrance that shocked me when I smelled it, and that's always really nice as someone who is smelling lots of different things basically every day. I love being surprised by a fragrance, and I ended up really, at the beginning, I was intrigued. But as I got to the heart and the dry down, I just found it to be a really well done vanilla. And that was really nice for me because a lot of times with the Dior Privé collection, I find that can be hit and miss. But their releases this year, Vanilla Diorama and Tabacaler, I really loved them both, so it's worth checking out. Number 4 on my list is a flanker. It's Delina La Ros&eacute by Parfums de Marly. I think within the women's fragrance community, Delina is a famous fragrance. It's definitely in the Hall of Fame as being this beautiful fragrance. And it's really funny because I smelled it, you know, when it first came out in 2017, and it was kind of like, and I smelled it again this year and fell in love. And this is with the original Delina. I absolutely fell in love with the original Delina this year. And so I was excited that they put out a flanker in 2021 as well. And it's really nice. I know initially for me and for a lot of people, what put me off with Delina is that there's this like kind of sour rhubarb note, which I now love. To me now it's like super fruity and it's part of the intrigue of the fragrance. But I also get how for some people like that fruitiness, it's just a bit too much for them. It's like what they focus on the fragrance. And in this La Ros&eacute edition, it's much more aquatic. You get more of the lychee than the rhubarb, and it's a lot fresher. So if you almost love Delina, but there was something putting you off about it, I definitely think you should check out this Delina La Ros&eacute. Number 3 on my list is a fragrance from a brand that I wasn't really familiar with until this year. Actually, I went back home to San Francisco for some of the holidays, and I visited Tiger Lily where I used to work, and Antonia, who's the owner, she was showing me all her new fragrance loves, and she showed me this fragrance by a brand called Room 1015 called Cherry Punk, and this fragrance is so fun. It's fun and it's also very sexy. What I love about this fragrance is that you have this really delicious cherry, and ever since Tom Ford's Last Cherry, I've kind of been obsessed with cherry notes in perfumery. I find that I really love the smell of them. They have a really good blend between fruity and balsamic being those like vanilla type aromas. And cherry has both because of its chemical composition, just natural cherries in nature. They have kind of this bitter almond facet in addition to their delicious red fruit characteristics. So after that, I tried looking for cherry fragrances, but it's really hard because you'll find cherry blossom, but they're a bit too floral. It's not straddling this like sweet vanilla line that I want, and cherry punk has that. It has this delicious cherry note, absolutely incredible. And then underscored by that is leather, which to me is such a sexy note. So it's a little bit like drinking cherry soda and wearing a leather jacket. Honestly, I don't drink cherry soda, but it's like smelling a delicious cherry scent while wearing a leather jacket. It's so good. It's very unisex. I actually share this scent with my boyfriend, and it also smells incredible on him. It's one of my like favorite niche discoveries of 2021. I think the fragrance itself, I'll be honest, was released in 2020, but it's a small house and I felt like it deserves way more hype than it has right now. Now we're getting down to my top 2 favorite fragrances, and at number 2 we have Le Belle Parfum. And so this is by Jean-Paul Gaultier. I've talked about the original La Belle in other favorite women's videos. This is hands down my most complimented scent by men and women. People love this scent. I don't feel like it's getting so much hype compared to other fragrances on social media. And I don't know why. It's so good. There are these like delicious caramel notes. In Le Parfum, there's a pear note. There's some spice, but to me, it really just smells like fruity caramel in the most refined way possible. Like, it's definitely not a young teenager scent. I think this is great for anyone 18 plus, you know, like, and I gave it to an aunt who's older than me, obviously, but I wear it. I think it's actually a really great fragrance for all ages. If you like sweet, it is a very sweet fragrance, but the projection and the longevity is incredible. And in the Le Parfum version, you get more of this like delicious dark vanilla underscoring the caramel and fruity notes, and it's so good and really worth checking out. Such a compliment getter fragrance. Really, like, my boyfriend loves it on me and all my friends love it on me. And the projection and the longevity. The longevity on the original was already insane, and then with the Le Parfum version, it just keeps going. So definitely worth checking out. And at number 1, we have a fragrance that I love so much that I would have never thought about. So the fragrance I'm talking about is Casserel's Yes, I Am Glorious. What a name. This is a name that does not resonate with me at all. I find the bottle super cute. It's this little peach lipstick tube, and this is a flanker of Yes I Am, and I find the Yes I Am Glorious bottle to be much cuter because it's like this pale blush pink, which is one of my favorite colors. This smells like a peach milkshake. And you'll get a theme. I love smelling edible. I also love smelling like tobacco and spices and incense and lots of crazy things. But one of my favorite categories is gourmand. And I think a lot of people, you know, when you have gourmand, you have your chocolates and you have your vanillas. But peach milkshake, I mean, few things sound more delicious. I think it just is. And it really truly smells that way. The longevity is really good. The projection is close to skin. I'm wearing it right now, and I feel like maybe it's projecting in a close aura. You know, if I was talking to someone like maybe this, they could smell me very close, like a good friend. Or if I gave someone a hug, they could smell me, but it's not gonna fill an elevator. And I think that's what makes it really good for like work or more of an intimate setting than something where like you want someone far away to smell you. But it's absolutely so delicious, and I think it's so funny because if I hadn't smelled it, you know, and blindly in this lineup of fragrances, just something about the name I don't like. I don't know if it's because I don't feel glorious. Like, I like myself, but glorious, I feel like I would have had to like won a battle to feel glorious. The name just feels a bit much for me. But I love the model, Shay Mitchell, who's like the face of this campaign. I find her so beautiful. So I think they did a good choice there. And I guess they have like a yes, I'm fabulous, yes, I'm glorious, and yes, I'm something else. But, you know, maybe they ran out of adjectives. I don't know, but who cares? What matters is the fragrance is absolutely amazing. Please let me know if you have have any favorite fragrances that were released in 2021, or even if not, what were you wearing that year? What smelled good to you that year? I would love to know, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye everyone.